Hey, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever felt like you're stuck on a treadmill that just won't slow down? You're working. Maybe you've even got a decent degree. You're doing everything right. But somehow, every month ends the same. Rent hits. Car payment hits. Groceries, gas, subscriptions you forgot you even had. And suddenly, your bank account looks like it's been on a diet it did not sign up for. And look, I get it. I've been there too. It's not just being broke, it's something heavier, quieter, something that creeps up on you while you're pretending everything's fine. I call it silent financial burnout. It's that feeling when you're exhausted, not because you're lazy, not because you're irresponsible, but because you're constantly trying to stay afloat in an economy that feels like it's playing on hard mode. It doesn't scream, it just eats at you, little by little. Yeah, you're not alone. And the reason you feel this way isn't what you think it is. The real enemy, the broke illusion. All right, let's clear something up, because this part hits a lot of us harder than we want to admit. The real issue isn't that you're not working hard enough or that your paycheck is trash. The real problem is that most of us are trapped inside what I call the broke illusion, this weird reality where, on paper, we look like functioning adults. But underneath, the math just doesn't add up. I've met guys in tech making well over six figures who still feel like they're one emergency away from their whole life collapsing. And trust me, I get it. I used to be the dude who upgraded to the newest phone every year, only to panic the moment my car started making a noise that sounded even slightly expensive. It wasn't stupidity, it was habit. It was the system we grew up in. Because here's the truth. The enemy isn't you. It's the environment you're trying to survive in. Inflation is quietly draining your savings like a slow leak in a basement pipe. Rent climbs faster than your raises. Groceries, insurance, interest rates, everything inflates except your breathing room. And meanwhile, every ad, every app, every shiny convenience is designed to keep you spending instead of building. From the outside, you look fine. You've got a job, a place to live, a decent lifestyle. But underneath that, the foundation is cracked, and nobody taught us how to fix it. We were taught how to consume, not how to own. The math doesn't add up. So, how do you actually break out of it? For me, the turning point was this. I had to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an owner. The mindset flip. From consumer to owner. Here's the turning point for me. And honestly, it might be the turning point for you too. My breakthrough didn't come from suddenly landing a better job or getting some magical raise. The shift happened the moment I stopped thinking like a consumer and started thinking like an owner. Most of us grow up trained to be world-class spenders. We're taught to chase the next cool thing, the new gaming console, the newest sneakers, the Friday night Amazon impulse buy. And look, those things aren't evil, but they keep you trapped in the same loop. A consumer asks, "What can I get right now?" An owner asks, "What can I build that will pay me later?" And that single difference is what separates people who stay stuck in the broke illusion from the people who quietly, consistently build wealth. This isn't some motivational poster quote. This hit me hard when I was drowning in student loans and living off whatever leftovers were in the fridge. I remember reading a book that basically smacked me in the face with one idea. Wealthy people don't just buy things. They buy assets, not yachts and private jets, but boring, steady, reliable assets that grow silently in the background. Stocks, index funds, a small side business, skills that multiply their income, ownership. Once I flipped that switch, everything changed. Instead of celebrating a new iPhone, I started celebrating owning a tiny slice of companies like Apple or Microsoft. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" I started asking, Does this move me closer to the life I want to build? And here's the part nobody tells you. You don't need a six-figure salary to start thinking like an owner. You just need a different lens, a different set of questions, a different identity. The moment you stop living like a consumer, you stop living paycheck to paycheck. But a shift in mindset is only the first step. You need a map. Let's talk about the specific, tiny micro actions that translate this new identity into real freedom. The micro action blueprint. You know, everyone talks about changing their life, but nobody talks about how small that change actually starts. After I made the mindset shift from consumer to owner, I remember feeling overwhelmed, almost embarrassed. I thought ownership meant huge investments, big moves, life-changing risk. But what I learned, painfully, slowly, is that real change doesn't show up as fireworks. It shows up as tiny choices that don't feel important until months later, when you suddenly realize your life has turned in a different direction. So let me give you the blueprint that finally got me out of my financial fog. Not the motivational speaker version, the honest version. 1. Pay yourself first, even if it hurts a little. When I first set up an automatic transfer the moment my paycheck came in, I didn't do it because it felt empowering. I did it because I didn't trust myself. There's something almost sacred about deciding that you deserve to be paid before everyone else, before rent, before bills, before the world gets its hands on your money, even if it's just $20, even if you think it won't matter. I learned that consistency builds confidence, not the other way around. And the truth is, discipline isn't something you magically wake up with. Discipline is what's left when you remove decisions. That's why automation works. 2. The simple investment that quietly changes everything. When I started buying tiny slices of the S&P 500, I didn't feel wise or strategic. There was no lightning bolt moment. But over time, something shifted. Not in my bank account, in me. For the first time, I wasn't just spending money. I was planting it. You may not feel proud buying an index fund. It's not exciting, no bragging rights. But that's exactly why it works. It's quiet growth, slow growth. The kind you only notice when you look back and realize your past self left you a gift. There's something deeply grounding about knowing that while you're sleeping, while you're stressed, while you're figuring your life out, something is quietly working in your favor. 3. The pause and ask habit. This is the most important part, and the hardest. Before I buy anything non-essential, I pause, just a few seconds, and I ask, is this helping future me or stealing from him? It sounds dramatic, but that question changed my relationship with money more than any book or financial guru. Because the truth is, our future selves are always the ones who pay the price for our present impulses. And when you begin to honor that version of you, the one who's older, wiser, hopefully calmer, something shifts. You feel grounded, you feel intentional, and you feel adult, in the best sense of the word. None of these micro actions will make you rich overnight, but they will do something even more important. Those small choices, they're the ones that end up rewriting your entire story. Now, if the micro actions are the engine, then this next part is the superweapon that gets you to the finish line. The compounding snowball, your superweapon. All right, this next part honestly feels like cheating, and I'm telling you straight up, I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders when I was 20 and said, dude, pay attention. This is the thing. This is the hack everybody ignores. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't flashy. It's not some crypto moonshot or a get-rich-quick move. It's slower, it's quieter. But it's the closest thing to magic we get in real life. It's called compound growth, or what I like to call the snowball effect. Here's how it works. Every dollar you invest doesn't just grow on its own. it starts creating little baby dollars that grow too. And those baby dollars have their own babies. And suddenly, you've got a family reunion of money that you didn't have to work for. That's why time, not income, is the real superpower. Let me paint the picture. Say you start at 25. Nothing wild, just $150 to $200 a month into something steady like an S&P 500 index fund. Historically, that thing grows around 10% a year. Keep that going, and by the time you're 55, you're looking at roughly $500,000. Not because you hustled harder, not because you started a business, just because you gave your money 3 decades to reproduce. But here's the part that stings. And I know, because it punched me in the chest when I learned it. If you wait until 35 to do the exact same thing, you don't get $500,000. You get barely a third of it. Same monthly amount, same fund, same effort, just started 10 years later, and it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the power of compounding. Time isn't just helpful, it's the whole game. And this is why Warren Buffett, the guy who literally became a billionaire off patience, said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." He wasn't joking. Every day you delay is a day your future money never gets born. Every day you start early is a day you speed up the snowball. Most people think wealth is about picking the right stocks or having some genius financial IQ. Nope. It's about starting early, staying consistent, and letting time do the heavy lifting. You unlock a super weapon most people never use, but time alone isn't enough. You need the patience to stick to it when the world goes crazy. Because here's something wild that took me years to accept. Thriving in chaos. The contrarian edge. Here's something wild that took me years to accept. Most people panic during financial chaos. But the people who actually build wealth, they stay calm, they stay patient, and sometimes they even lean in. The truth is, the world doesn't fall apart nearly as often as the news makes it seem. But every time markets wobble, recession headlines, stock dips, red charts all over your phone, something important happens. Prices drop. And when prices drop, long-term investors get opportunities that only show up a few times each decade. I know it sounds crazy. When everyone else is freaking out, the last thing you feel like doing is investing. But volatility is basically the stock market's version of a clearance sale. Think about it. If you walked into Best Buy and saw a 40% discount on a TV you actually wanted, you wouldn't run out of the store screaming. You'd lean in. Yet when the same discount happens in the market, people treat it like the apocalypse. This is where the contrarian edge comes in. While everyone else is dumping their shares out of fear, you, the long-term thinker, are quietly picking up solid companies at a fraction of their usual price. Your consistent monthly investing becomes even more powerful because every dip means you get more shares for the same amount of money. Your snowball starts rolling faster. I learned this the hard way during 2020. The world shut down, the market tanked, and everyone around me was convinced it was game over. I almost listened, but instead, I stuck to the plan. I kept investing. Not huge amounts, just steady, consistent contributions. Looking back, those months became some of the most profitable decisions I've ever made. Here's the paradox. Chaos feels dangerous. But for the patient, it's opportunity wearing a disguise. Fear makes most people run. Perspective gives you an edge. And once you understand that, you stop being scared of downturns and start using them. Everything we talked about, the mindset shift, the micro actions, the snowball, the contrarian edge, none of it matters unless you actually start. Your silent burnout doesn't end when you make more money. It ends the moment you choose to take back control, even if it's with the smallest step possible. So here's my challenge to you. This week, pick one action. Just one. Open the investment account. Turn on the automatic transfer. Buy your first tiny slice of an index fund. Whatever it is, make it real. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Ready is a trap. I'm still walking this path too, learning, adjusting, messing up, improving. But I can promise you, the day you make your first move is the day the whole game shifts. So, are you in? If you're committing to one micro action, hit like, hit subscribe, and let's build this future together. Your engine starts now.